In the world of Middle-earth, few names are as feared as Sauron. The Dark Lord, master of the One Ring and harbinger of darkness, sought dominion over all of Middle-earth. Yet despite his immense power, there are beings, some lesser known, some ancient and primal, whose power far surpasses that of Sauron. In this series, we will explore the top 10 beings more powerful than the Dark Lord himself, the Valar, the powers of the world. Before Sauron's rise to power, the Valar were the highest beings in Middle-earth, immense and eternal, with powers that shape the very fabric of the world. Created by Eru Ilúvatar, they were the Ainur, the Holy Ones, who entered the world to help shape its destiny. But while the Valar were creators and stewards of the world, they were also its protectors. Manwë, king of the Valar. Manwë, the lord of the air and the winds, was the most powerful of the Valar, second only to Eru Ilúvatar. He was the ruler of the skies, the winds, and all creatures that lived in the air. Manwë's influence reached far beyond Middle-earth, for his sight could penetrate all things, and his voice was the voice of authority. He was wise, just, and a visionary, a being whose decisions shaped the course of history. In the Silmarillion, it is said that when Sauron tried to dominate the world, it was Manwë who sought to contain and banish him. Manwë's powers were vast, and his wisdom far outstripped Sauron's cunning. In his realm, upon Mount Tanikitil, he could command the winds and control the weather, giving him dominion over the very forces of nature. Even Sauron, with all his malice and strength, could never hope to defeat Manwë in the air or see beyond his all-seeing gaze. Varda, Queen of the Stars. Varda, the Lady of the Stars, was the consort of Manwë, and her power rivaled that of her husband. She created the stars and the constellations, filling the night sky with beauty and light. To the elves, she was revered as Elbereth, a name that invoked reverence and dread in the hearts of Sauron's servants. Her light was the greatest weapon against the forces of darkness, for where Varda's radiance touched, shadows could not survive. Her influence went beyond mere beauty. She was a force of preservation and protection, keeping the darkness at bay. Her light was incorruptible, and unlike Sauron, who was consumed by his own darkness, Varda embodied the purity of creation. In fact, Sauron feared her more than any other Valar, for her light was a direct counter to his own shadow. Together, Manwë and Varda represented an aspect of power that Sauron could never comprehend, the harmonious balance of wisdom, beauty, and light, as opposed to his obsession with domination and control. Eru Ilúvatar, the Supreme Creator. At the very pinnacle of power stands Eru Ilúvatar, the supreme being who created not only Middle-earth, but all of existence. The Valar, the Maiar, the elves, men, and every living thing were his creation. In Tolkien's mythology, Eru is both the ultimate architect and the conductor of the cosmic music that shapes the world. His will is the foundation upon which all power is built. Unlike Sauron, who is driven by a desire for control and dominion, Eru's power is beyond comprehension. His influence is not tied to any one thing. He is both the source and the end of all things. He gave the Valar and Maiar their powers, and when the time came for the shaping of the world, Eru's intention for Middle-earth was one of creation, growth, and eventual healing. The very existence of Sauron, though a force of destruction, is part of Eru's design. Even Sauron's eventual defeat and the destruction of the One Ring were not outside of Eru's plans. The ultimate power of Eru Ilúvatar is that nothing can defy his will. Not even Sauron's ambition to reshape Middle-earth could ever surpass the will of the Creator, who ensures that all things must come to their proper end. Melkor, Morgoth, the first Dark Lord. Before there was Sauron, there was Morgoth, once the greatest of the Valar and the most powerful being in all of Middle-earth. Morgoth, originally named Melkor, was the most gifted and ambitious of the Ainur, the ones who came before the world was created. He was a master of many forms of power, but his greatest strength lay in his desire to control and dominate. Morgoth's pride and jealousy led him down a path of corruption, turning him against his fellow Valar and defiling the world. He sought to corrupt the world's beauty, transforming it into an image of his own dark desire. In his dark citadel, Angband, Morgoth created armies of monsters and creatures, including dragons and orcs. He brought a reign of terror across Middle-earth that lasted for ages. Sauron, originally a servant of Morgoth, was corrupted by him in much the same way. But while Sauron's ambitions were a mere shadow of Morgoth's, the sheer magnitude of Morgoth's power made him the greatest Dark Lord in history. His corruption of the world left deep scars that even Sauron could never hope to undo. When Morgoth was finally cast into the void by the Valar at the end of the First Age, his influence still lingered in Middle-earth. The legacy of Morgoth's power was felt throughout all of Tolkien's works. Even after his banishment, Sauron, his most trusted lieutenant, inherited Morgoth's mantle and attempted to continue his master's work of domination, but never could he surpass the raw, destructive force that was Morgoth. The One Ring, a weapon of unimaginable power. The One Ring is not merely a tool created by Sauron, it is an artifact of immense power imbued with part of Sauron's own essence. While the ring was designed to control the other rings of power and the free peoples of Middle-earth, it is much more than a simple instrument of control. It is an entity in itself. The One Ring possesses its own malevolent will. It corrupts and manipulates those who possess it, bending them to its desires. It is capable of amplifying the strengths and weaknesses of its bearers. When used by beings of great power like Gandalf, Galadriel, or even Aragorn, it could amplify their strengths. Yet for those who are weak or selfish, like Gollum or Boromir, it becomes a force of destruction. But the One Ring's true power lies in its ability to corrupt. It draws upon the darkest desires of its bearers, twisting their wills and turning them into mere shadows of their former selves. Sauron, in his lust for control, became consumed by the ring, but it is the ring itself that could have overtaken him, if anyone other than Frodo had managed to destroy it. Though it was forged by Sauron, it was also his downfall, for it contained a part of his essence, and that made it a power greater than he could fully control. The ring has the potential to control even the mightiest of beings, including Sauron himself, making it one of the greatest threats in Middle-earth. Gandalf the White, the reborn Istar. Gandalf, one of the 5 Istari sent to Middle-earth by the Valar, began his journey as a humble Maiar known as Olorin. He was wise, compassionate, and deeply attuned to the hearts of the free peoples of Middle-earth. But when the time came to confront Sauron, Gandalf was chosen to return in a form that would not only inspire, but also wield great power in the battle against darkness. Gandalf's transformation from Gandalf the Grey to Gandalf the White marks the pinnacle of his power. After his battle with the Balrog in the depths of Moria, Gandalf was resurrected by Eru Ilúvatar and sent back to Middle-earth as the leader of the Istari. His power was greatly enhanced, and he was entrusted with the responsibility of leading the forces of good in their final stand against Sauron. Gandalf's power was not in sheer force alone. His strength lay in his wisdom, his ability to unite diverse peoples, and his unshakable will to resist corruption. His wisdom in leading the Fellowship of the Ring and his ability to foresee events were key in the defeat of Sauron. Unlike Sauron, who sought to dominate and control, Gandalf's power was rooted in the defense of freedom and the unity of Middle-earth's peoples. Tom Bombadil, the enigmatic Eternal. Tom Bombadil is perhaps the most mysterious and enigmatic figure in all of Middle-earth. He is a being of great power, yet he remains outside the influence of both Sauron and the Valar. Tom lives in the old forest, unaffected by the passage of time or the world-changing events around him. Tom is immune to the power of the One Ring. When Frodo and his companions meet him, Tom wears the ring and does not vanish. It has no power over him. The question of what Tom Bombadil truly is remains unanswered. Some believe he is a Maiar, an ancient being, or even a spirit of nature itself. But none of these theories fully explain his independence from the influences that shape the world. Tom's true power lies in his complete freedom from the corruption and desires that drive other beings. His song can calm the forces of nature, and he is a protector of the natural world. While Sauron may seek to corrupt and control all things, Tom is beyond his reach. His power is not about domination, but about harmony and balance. Galadriel, Lady of Light and Power. Galadriel is one of the most powerful beings in Middle-earth, not only because of her strength, but also due to her wisdom, grace, and foresight. She is one of the 3 elven ring-bearers, and possesses the ring Nenya, which grants her dominion over the forces of preservation and protection. Galadriel's beauty and grace are matched only by her inner strength. She is the Lady of Lothlorien, a realm untouched by the ravages of time. Her ability to see into the hearts and minds of others, and her resistance to the One Ring's temptations, are evidence of her immense power. Her power transcends that of Sauron, in the sense that she does not seek domination. Her strength lies in the preservation of what is good in the world, in standing against the darkness with wisdom and compassion. Unlike Sauron, who is bent on destruction, Galadriel's power is one of renewal and hope. The Balrog of Moria, ancient and terrifying. The Balrog of Moria, known as Durin's Bane, was a creature of terrifying power, an ancient Maya of fire and shadow who had been corrupted by Morgoth during the First Age. When the dwarves of Moria awakened this ancient terror, they unleashed a force more powerful than they could control. The Balrog's power was immense, capable of wielding fire and shadow as weapons. When Gandalf confronted the Balrog on the bridge of Khazad-dûm, it was a battle of titanic proportions. Gandalf, though a powerful Maya himself, was pushed to his limits, and only through the intervention of fate and his own inner strength was he able to defeat the creature. The Balrog's raw power was a threat that Sauron could never fully command. It was a primordial force, predating even Sauron's own ambitions. Sauron could never hope to tame such a creature. Its ferocity was beyond even his control. The Ents, guardians of the forest. The Ents, ancient tree shepherds, are one of the oldest and most powerful races in Middle-earth. Created by the Vala Yavanna to protect the forests, the Ents embody the power of nature itself. Their strength lies in their deep connection to the natural world and their ability to manipulate and protect the forests. In The Lord of the Rings, the Ents play a crucial role in the defeat of Saruman, whose industrialization threatens the forests. When Treebeard, the eldest of the Ents, leads the Ents into war, they prove that no amount of steel or magic can overcome the sheer force of nature. Their power lies not in speed or military tactics, but in their endurance and unity. The Ents are a living testament to the enduring power of nature and the ancient forces that shaped the world before Sauron's rise to power. Conclusion: the limits of power. Sauron, for all his ambition and power, was but one player in the grand tapestry of Middle-earth. The beings and forces more powerful than him represent different facets of existence: creation, nature, wisdom, and light. Each of them holds a unique power that no single Dark Lord could ever hope to control. In the end, Sauron was defeated not by sheer might, but by the unity and courage of the free peoples, guided by wisdom, humility, and strength that transcended his dark influence. Power in Middle-earth is not always measured by domination, but by the will to protect, preserve, and endure. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the mighty and mysterious beings of Middle-earth. We hope you've enjoyed exploring the powers that rival even the Dark Lord Sauron. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Tolkien's world, be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more in-depth discussions about the characters, creatures, and lore of Middle-earth.